Hey there, it's Liz from No Trace. In this video, I'm going to show you how to fix a hole in your tennis shoe like that by mending it like this. So let's go. In order to fix the holes in my tennis shoes, I'm going to basically be creating a little new weaved area of fabric using some thread. This is sashiko thread. It's designed for mending. It's thicker than regular thread, not as thick as embroidery floss. So if you have access to thread like this, I would definitely recommend it. But if you don't have access to sashiko thread, you could use some other kind of thread like embroidery floss or regular thread. Embroidery floss might not be strong enough over time, but if that's what you have, I would say use it. I'm going to be using an actual sashiko needle as well, but you definitely don't have to. This needle just has a wider head, so it's going to be a little bit easier to get my thread into. I'm going to be using about 2 feet of thread or less just to get started, and there's no knot at the end of this thread. Now, if your shoe has a tongue that you can fold all the way back, I would definitely recommend doing that, but you don't. This shoe doesn't do that, and that's okay. What we're going to do is just start creating several long stitches that go across this hole about a 1/2 inch away from the beginning. So I'm just going to insert the needle about a 1/2 inch away from the hole off to the side a bit. Grab a pinch of fabric and just go all the way across, making sure to leave a tail of a good 3 inches or so. Okay, and we'll just go all the way across the hole to the other side. Okay, now we grab about a 1/4 inch or less of shoe fabric and pull so that this stitch lays flat and this got some tension to it. Now we're going to go across again. Grab about a 1/4 inch of fabric on the other side of the hole and pull our thread, making sure to keep our tail separate for later. Okay, and then again I'm going to bring my needle over to the other side. Again, I'm going to catch about a 1/4 inch of fabric on the shoe, maybe a little less, maybe it's more like 1/8 of an inch, and just repeat that until your whole toe is covered for just going in one direction. Once this first set of stitches is complete, you're going to get your needle ready. So stick it back under, grab a little bit more fabric and get it ready to start weaving in the opposite direction, so perpendicular. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to go over the thread, then we're going to go under the next one. If I can grab it, then we go over, under, over, under, over. Okay. Now once we get that in place, what we want to do is grab, again, we're going to grab a little pinch of fabric here at the top of our hole. So about 1/8 of an inch of fabric. Just get your needle under there. Okay, and then once it's under there, we're going to go ahead and repeat, but we're going to reverse the over under. Okay, so instead of going over this first piece of thread, we're going to go under, and then we're going to go over the second, under the third, over the fourth, under the fifth, over the sixth, and under the last stitch. Okay, and every now and then you're going to have to tug on this loose tail. We will knot that at the end. Okay, so over, under, over. Again, we're going to grab a little pinch of fabric where our thread ended so that we can go back up the opposite direction. So try to grab about 1/8 of an inch if you can. It might be hard depending on where your hole is, so just do your best. And a thimble can be really helpful. Get that needle through. Okay, and now we're going to weave back across these rows of stitches. Again, we're going to reverse the over under. Okay, so we're gonna go under the first one, or sorry, over the first one, under, over, under, over, under, and over. Okay, so just continue that until you've covered this whole section, remembering to grab a little pinch of fabric at each end of this next set of stitches that you're creating. Okay, so I've finished weaving the thread over and under so that this whole area is covered. And now I have 2 thread tails left to deal with. So let me show you how to deal with those guys. Now, if you were mending a hole that wasn't on a shoe, you could easily pull your threads to the inside of your mending project and tie a knot on the inside. However, we are dealing with this shoe, so the chances of getting a tight knot near the mended area are slim to none. So here's how I'm going to finish off my tails. I'm going to bring one of these tails in towards the middle of my mended area. So I'm just going to thread it into the shoe fabric and into that mend and just kind of pull it through. Okay, and I'm going to take my needle off, and then I'm going to go ahead and grab this thread and do the same thing. I'm going to get it back on the needle and pull it through towards the center of my mended spot. All right, so the other tail is back on the needle again. I'm going to push it into my shoe and then back out near that other thread. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie these 2 threads together into a double knot. So I'm just going to take these 2 tails, I'm going to tie them together, and then tie them together a second time. So I have a little bit of a visible knot, but it's kind of in the middle of my mend, so it's kind of hard to see it. Then I'm just going to trim the thread really close to the knot, and then I can kind of move the weaving over a little bit so that the knot is pretty much hidden. And now your shoe's fixed. Hey, if you've made it this far, you should join our Zero Waste Sewing and Crafting community over on Facebook. The link to join is in the description box below this video, so go ahead and click into the description box area, and I'd love to see you over there. And give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the No Trace channel to get notified about all of our videos. We put out a new video every single week on zero waste sewing, crafting, and lifestyle tips.